Hello again. Okay, so I am making this video um, just to kind of answer the question. And you know, I know that there will be people that will be like, how do I know it's really you? And I know that's the case already, but it's fine. It is very hard for me to like divulge everything, and that is simply because if I do, first of all, like I said, there are people who aren't going to believe me anyway, and who's to say that someone else won't just try to lie and say that I stole their story and that I'm really not who I am. They could say I stole it from a blog of theirs that they, deleted or something like that. Who knows? I don't know. People come up with all kinds of weird stuff all the time these days, especially on the internet. So I will share some of the story. I'll share the part that you guys, want to know. But first, let me just really make it clear. I really don't want to, burst any of you guys' bubble, but I will not sit here and pretend that me and MFDOOM were like cool, we were like, friends or anything like that. I hope you guys realize that that's not the truth, and I don't have all these wonderful stories to tell you. So yeah, I just want to say that right off the bat. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you the story, but if you go and watch the Red Bull interview, yeah, on the Red Bull interview, he makes it, very plain, and clear. So that being said, okay, so what I can tell you and will tell you right now is that the way this all worked out, it started with Webb. And that's why I was thanking him in, the previous video, like, the description. Okay, so basically the way it went is me and Webb were either hanging out or he was helping me with my demo. I don't know which one, but anyhow, he basically was like, he said something like, hey, my man is doing an album, and he needs a female singer, would you be interested, or something like that. And I was like, yeah, of course, that's so cool. And he was like, all right, bet. He was like, something, I don't know what else he said, but I don't know if he called him after that. I don't know exactly what happened after that, except for that we were in a cab. We got in a cab, and he was just like kind of like, I guess almost like hyping me up or whatever. He was just like, yeah, they're from the group KMD, the group KMD. And I was like, no, who's that? It's so sad, but I didn't know. And he was like, Peach Fuzz. And I was like, he was like, oh, you don't know that song? And I was like, mm-mm. And now, mind you, like I said, I am, I listened to R&B, that was what I listened to mostly, because as I said, I was, trying to, become a professional singer. And, what I grew up around, to just, real quickly say, like my mom, she listened to like Keith Sweat and like Larry Graham, One in a Million You. I love that song. Anita Baker and like those are the type of songs that I listen to. As well as my brothers, they put me on to Faith No More, and like Live in Color. Is it Live in Color? In Live in Color. And they had a song Cult of Personality, and also Bon Jovi, and I have a few brothers, and and it's just like they were into different things. Some of them were like listening to just Bust the Move, Eric B and Rakim, Rob Bass, yeah. So this, I'm not gonna say all the names, but that's basically what I was listening to. I was just listening to everything, but mostly R&B. Anyhow, so back to the story. So he was just like, Peach Fuzz, and I was like, like I don't know what song that is. And then he was like, well. He was like, the Gas Face? That song? I was like, oh, yeah, I know that song. He was like, yeah, well, he was on there. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, that's really cool, I was like, ooh. And so he was like, yeah. And so he's like, yeah, we're going to go over here and do this, right quick or whatever. And so, yeah, we rolled on over, got to the studio and went on in there. Okay, so we got there and we walked in and there were these guys standing there, like I don't know, like maybe 2, 3, 4 guys. They were standing there and they had like either business attire or like they looked like they were dressed up, like suits or something, or trench coats. I don't remember, but they just looked, like some businessmen or something. And, they didn't have baggy clothes on and Timberlands, like I was wearing, And anyhow, so walked in, saw them, he dapped them up and started talking with them. And I just kind of walked over like to the side and was just standing there with a big old cheese grin on my face, looking around like, ooh, because I have been to like recording studios, like in, people's homes, and also like I've been to a different kind of studio. It didn't look big like that, it was a recording studio, but it just wasn't that big. And I was looking around and I saw like the sound booth and like I guess it was the engineer. And anyhow, Tommy Gunn walks by and I think he was like, what's up or whatever, and they were talking over there, him, Webb, and the guys, I believe. And then just while I'm looking over here to the left somewhere or whatever, and I just see a figure coming toward me and just walking like and I was like, it was MFDOOM. He just came up to me and he was like, hey, yo, what's up or whatever, and he was like, how did he put it? He said something like, hey, do you know this song? And he went on to sing a part of Kiss of Life by Sade. And I was like, oh yeah, I love that song, because I love her music, her beautiful voice. And I listen to her all the time, seriously, to this day. And anyhow, yeah, so I was like, yeah, I can sing that. And so he was like, all right, cool. And so we went to the booth or whatever. I got in there, put my little headset on, and just proceeded to sing the song or sing the hook. And he had it written out. He, you know, it showed me what it was he wanted me to sing. And so I went on and sang it. I think we did it in like maybe 2 or 3 takes, something like that. But it was really quick. And after that, then he's just like, hey, okay, for this other song I want you to sing this. That was, you know, the mic. And, you know, I was looking at it, I was like, okay. And so I just sang it for him. And it was so funny because he was like, no, don't put all of that wavy stuff, or somehow he said it, wavy or wiggly stuff in your voice. And I was like, you know, and yeah, he was just like, yeah, don't put all that wiggly stuff or wavy stuff in your voice. And so me not being a trained singer, I hadn't, you know, I've never had voice lessons or anything like that, so I didn't really know how to sing the way, well, at least I felt the way he may have wanted me to. So all I can think of in the moment, because of my anxiety, was to just, you know, try my best not to have any kind of vibrato or waviness in my voice. And so I just like tried to, I ended up just forcing it out, kind of, you know, like feel, you know, just all hard. And yeah, you know, we did a few takes of that, and then he was like, all right, that's good, and he just said thank you. Like, I came out of the booth, he said thank you, and he was out, you know, he was like, he just was serious. He was trying to do his work, handle his business. He was out. That's what happened. I don't know what else to say. But anyway, have a wonderful day or night, or, you know, whatever it is. I don't know. I really do appreciate the love from you guys, though. I just got to say that again. Thank you so much for all your kind words, for being so just so nice and sweet. You know, kindness is rare these days. You know, it's a seed not a lot of people plant these days. But thank you again so much. And yeah, be blessed. Bye.